Hey guys, what's up? Today I'm gonna show you 10 underrated action JRPGs that I just thought you should know about. And as usual, I'm not covering games that I've covered 10 million times in this channel already, and also not covering any of the games that I've talked in previous underrated videos. You know, like these 3 for example, because you already know they're awesome, and you already watched those videos, right? Right? Anyway, let's begin! Number 10. Terranigma. Terranigma is an action RPG that is often considered as a part of a trilogy of games, along with 2 other underrated titles, Illusion of Gaia and Soul Blazer. Those 2 were localized to North America with no problems. But when Terranigma was done back in 1995, it was released everywhere except here. The reason why is because Enix of America closed its doors right before the localization was done. Unfortunately, nobody took the reins anymore to finish this project. Nowadays, thanks to emulation and reproduction cards, anybody can easily play this game in North America. And they should, in my opinion, as it is a heavily underrated RPG over here for very obvious reasons. This might be one of the greatest titles in this list, but I put it at number 10 since I feel it's not that underrated anymore. Thankfully. Number 9. Legend of Mana. Everybody's nuts about the Secret of Mana games and the first trilogy of Seiken Densetsu Collection of Mana, and why the hell didn't they include this underrated forgotten action RPG on it? Nowadays it's quite rare, hard to find, not that expensive yet, but it's getting there. Anyway, Legend of Mana is a game where you choose the gender of your character and the weapon type they'll use. It settles down in this open world concept as you keep getting relics to unlock the towns and landscapes. It might be a good idea to play this title with a guide, since you'll get lost quite frequently without it. But just discovering all these great new areas, fighting against all types of enemies, and some kick-ass bosses, with amazing soundtracks, it's worth the journey. By the way, you do have party members, as most of them have their own subplots in the game, which are mainly based on quests. There's also a co-op mode, so you can sit down with a friend or 2 and enjoy the heck out of it. Legend of Mana is definitely an underrated RPG that you should try. Number 8. Lunar Nights. Also known as Boktai DS, it's part of the Boktai series that started back in the Game Boy Advance. I think I could include the entire trilogy in this video, but I like Lunar Nights way more than the others because it does feel like a true action RPG. These games were developed by Kojima Productions, and if that first name doesn't sound familiar, then go play Metal Gear Solid. Yeah, Hideo Kojima produced Lunar Nights, an exclusive for the Nintendo DS. You play in this top-down view with your 2 main characters, first as Lucian the Vampire Hunter, who's obviously the lone wolf edgy character, and Aaron, an apprentice sharpshooter. It's one chapter with Lucian and another one with Aaron, so on until, well, no spoilers. What I like the most is that their missions seem to play in different areas depending on the character. Story might feel comedic at times, but it gets serious when it needs to, having a lot of charisma and some interesting twists. Lunar Nights is a really fun game, highly unique, and definitely an underrated RPG that you can't miss. Number 7. Dragon Valor. Can't say I haven't recommended this before. It's no masterpiece, but it's just one of those overlooked games that nowadays people seem to have forgotten. It's yet another unique RPG that might not seem like it at first, since all you do is move from point A to point B swinging your sword. Its uniqueness comes from the fact that there's a story arc in every single chapter. You will play as the descendant of the descendant, and so on in this big family business, generation through generation. I just thought that was awesome! This also means that there's several different routes and endings, adding some decent replay value. Its action elements derive from battling enemies in a hack-and-slash system. There's also some platforming involved, some puzzles here and there, shopping to do in these overmapped towns, and last but not least, the boss fights. Something I was always looking forward to. They're just very fun to play. It's also part of a series called Dragon Buster, with the first game released back in the 80s for computer systems. In any case, give this game a try, as I think it's totally worth your time. Number 6. Pandoras Tower. Part of the famous Operation Rainfall led by fans that wanted the last story and Xenoblade Chronicles to be localized. Thankfully, they succeeded, and Pandoras Tower was also released in the world as an exclusive to the Wii. You take the role of this dude whose mission is to explore this gigantic fortress with 13 towers. His goal is to cure his girl from one very nasty disease. This includes body degeneration and the gruesome need to eat body parts from the monsters. Ugh. This game, I can't believe it was rated teen, as it is one of the most violent and disturbing RPGs I've ever played. That doesn't mean it's bad, quite the contrary, it's pretty damn good, as it acts like a hack and slash game through its dungeon exploration. It may get a little bit repetitive because of that, but the action is totally worth it, as is the story, since the game does make you care about the girl. And by the way, this game has 6 different endings that will vary depending on your actions and relationship with her. Try Pandora's Tower before it gets any more rare or expensive. It's totally underrated. Number 5. Code of Princess EX. This game was originally released on the Nintendo 3DS, developed by a team that included people who worked on Guardian Heroes for the Sega Saturn. Then it was ported to PC some years later, and at last it landed as an enhanced port on the Nintendo Switch. That's the full, complete and best version, so that's the one I'm recommending. Code of Princess is a beat-em-up RPG that's highly technical, played in these 2-dimensional layers. Moving between them up and down is the key to strategizing your victories against both the bosses and their minions. I said technical, and I mean it, since it's definitely no button masher. You gotta plan sometimes your attacks, which may slow down the action a little bit. There's a huge variety of characters to play as, and also a co-op mode so you can play with a friend right next to you. This mode is very fun, making the experience even more addicting. You won't be playing this game for its story, since it's just a fan service comedy, so focus on the action itself and the multiplayer adventure. Number 4. Tonelico Koga, Nail of RCL. We all know that's a really weird ass name, but whatever. In my last video about underrated turn-based RPGs, I covered its 2 prequels on the PS2. For the PS3, however, and for some strange reason that I blame on the trending back in the day, they turned the battle system here into an action one, sort of like a Tales of clone. Well, some people hated that, but I didn't. I loved it, and I had a lot of fun playing the game. Everything else, from my point of view, was left intact. There's the usually very well-written story and strong character development behind the excessive amount of suggestive themes and fan service. There's still the free exploration system in all kinds of areas, including dungeons and towns. The Cosmosphere system is also still there, where you can dive into the heroines' minds to bond and have them cast graded song magic. And if we go back to the battle system, we can still see the mechanic of protecting the Ravatails, the girls, while they cast their powerful melodies. All in all, it's still a true Tonelico, A very fun game to play and a closure to a trilogy that had a lot of potential. Number 3. Phantasy Star Portable. Do you remember this PS2 game, which also came out on the Xbox 360, called Phantasy Star Universe? Yeah, of course you do, it's quite popular. None of its underrated sequels were as famous as it for many different reasons. I've recommended the other one on the PS2 quite a few times before, so I think it's time I move on to the third title in the Universe saga. They called it now Phantasy Star Portable for being an exclusive to the PSP. But it continues the story with most of the main cast of the two previous games, now with your customizable character. There's also a new heroine, an android that will mainly go around with you in most missions of the game. Hack and slash in a science fiction universe full of aliens and intergalactic political problems. I can't believe many people overlooked this gem and still continue to do so, as it is one of the best action RPGs on the system. There's also a sequel that you guys love and think it's better, but I didn't enjoy it as much, although I do admit it's just as good. Number 2. Ys 1 and 2 Chronicles. I've lost count on how many times these two games have been remade or ported, and still they're not amongst the majority of people's favorite titles in the series. Well, count me in. But it's time to talk about the PSP version that I played, with what I consider to be probably the best soundtrack in the entire franchise. Oh yeah, it's that good. So this remake, which was also available on the Nintendo DS at the time, helped me play and enjoy the game for what it truly was. Previously I played the PC Engine and the Master System versions of the first game, and I'll admit that I was happy to know where it all started, but I just wasn't excited to keep playing them. With the PSP remake, however, I found myself addicted to it, as it is a very hard game, but easy to break if you level up enough. Every time one of these crazy bosses beat the crap out of me, I leveled up around the area until I managed to utterly destroy them in seconds. Story is there, but it's not that focused on it, although it does leave this sense of mystery everywhere you go. Bumping into your enemies is what causes damage to them, but you gotta be careful when or how to approach them, otherwise you'll receive damage as well. This game is so very well thought, and I'm grateful for Falcom and Exceed for working out on the localization of this remake. It's definitely one of the most underrated pair of titles in the entire series. Number 1. Tales of Legendia. No! I will never, and I repeat never, get tired of praising this excellent masterpiece, no matter how much hatred it receives. Call it a black sheep, an alien experiment by a different developer, or one of the worst Tales of games ever. I don't give a rat's ass. I love this game with a passion, not only for being the first Tales of I've ever played, but also for giving me one of the most tear-jerking and heartwarming stories ever in a video game. I fell in love with the character development here and how every single one of them faced their ordeals like most of us humans will do in real life. The battle system was like a 2D fighting game or a beat-em-up with all these characters and enemies around. It was fantastic. I did bitch about the encounter rate here and there, but since I love these battle mechanics, I was having fun most of the time. The art and the soundtrack were just absolutely beautiful. Enough to forgive the usual perks most people complain about. The navigation felt slow, but I took advantage of it to appreciate everything done right with this amazing adventure. No game is perfect. My favorite, your favorite, they're all full of flaws, and Tales of Legendia is no exception. But honestly, it might just be the most underrated Tales of title in existence. You know, it may be trash for some people, but hey, one man's trash is another man's treasure. And boy, this could be one of the greatest treasures I've ever encountered in my gaming life. So that's it, guys. That's it. So what are other underrated action JRPGs that you think should have been on this list or that I missed? Let me know in the comment section below. Unless those games are on my trilogy of videos that I made a long time ago called Top 10 Most Underrated JRPGs Ever. You watched those videos already, right? Yeah, come on, I know you did. I know you guys have watched those videos already. Right? Right? Yeah, I know you have. I know you have. Because if you haven't, do it now!